playing the role of the archaeologist, the beautiful Miss Annabelle Wallace. Woo! Welcome. And of course,
Hi.
the title role, the mummy, the beautiful Sophia Boutella. Woo! Wow, she doesn't look scary at all. She's so sweet and beautiful. Okay, welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Tom Cruise. Woo! Welcome to Taiwan. All right.
Hello.
Hello. Look at everyone, so excited. All right, so today, to start off with, I guess, people are, eager to hear what they're going to talk about, but I would like to invite each and one of them to say hello to all of our Taiwan media and also media friends from Asia. I know we have Indonesia, India, Thailand, all over. So first, start off with Director Alex. Would you like to say hello to everyone?
Guys, thank you so much for coming out today. It's amazing to be here. We're so happy to have you, and we really appreciate you all coming.
Okay, and how about Annabelle?
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming. What a treat to talk to you all.
Okay, and let us start off with the mummy first. Huh? Sophia, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Wow, isn't she sweet? And, of course, Tom.
Hello, you all. How are you? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Good. I just want to tell you I'm very, very excited to be here. This is my fourth time in this country, and I receive such a warm welcome every time. It's really very special for me. And I hope you enjoy The Mummy. We're very excited to bring it to you, and it's a really different kind of take on what a monster film is, and we're all very excited to be here. And I just want to thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, why don't we give a big round of applause? I think everybody in Taiwan especially is so excited because 4 years ago he promised he will be back.
Yes.
And you are the man who kept your words and brought the mummy here.
Yes.
All right, why don't we give a big round of applause? Woo! And like Tom has just said that, we want to give you a different take of the mummy. So Alex, can you tell us to start off with, a little bit more about, when you are starting off with the idea of rebooting the mummy? I'm sure that, you grew up with, all the different monsters. You had a legendary image of the mummy. Like I grew up with the mummy from the black and white version all the way to, the modern version.
Sure.
So, what kind of life and, what kind of character did you want to put into this particular mummy?
I grew up loving the Universal monsters so much. They were such a part of my life, and I loved each of the monsters. But the mummy was very special to me because I remember the first time I saw Boris Karloff come to life in the original and being utterly terrified by it. I was a small child. And the fear that I felt for him, but also understanding that I weirdly related to the fact that it was a love story and that he just wanted to reconnect with his love from 5,000 years ago. Obviously, there have been many mummy movies over the last several decades. And I think our goal was to come up with an original way to tell the story. We wanted something different and new. So if you're a fan of The Mummy, you'll see things that feel in some ways familiar and in other ways very different. And I think making the mummy a woman was a big part of it. Obviously, having Tom Cruise in the movie changes the game completely. We wanted to bring you something fresh and exciting. For me, it was always about adventure, about fun, about scares, about humor and romance, and hopefully that's what we've delivered.
Yeah, but I heard that, when you thought about the female mummy, which is the most unique part of this story, the mummy, this time around, and you thought about Sophia right away.
Right away.
She is the chosen one, right?
She was the one, and here's the thing. I don't know if you guys saw Kingsman or if you've seen her dance for Nike or for Madonna or for Michael Jackson. She's unbelievable. I mean, she's like an Olympic athlete when it comes to dancing, but far more than that, Sophia carries her soul in her eyes. And I knew that no matter how much prosthetic or CGI was involved in the movie, you would always feel the performance coming through, and you would connect to her character, and so she was the only one.
Right.
Thank you, Alex. It touches me a lot what you say. Every time I hear you say that, I can't believe it. I feel so lucky to be a part of this film, and hearing you say this is wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And you know, when you were asked to be the mummy, what did you feel, Sophia?
Well, I kindly said no.
You said no.
She did, it's true.
Yes,
she said
I
no.
did. And I didn't think that I would be able to say that publicly, but he went ahead and said the truth. I was like, Alex, are you sure this is okay to say? And he told me, yes, I did, because I was, the reason why I said no, or the reason why I said yes in the end, it's so strange. I was terrified to play a monster. I was. And I just finished doing a movie that required so much makeup. And I for some reasons, I was terrified already before. So I said no, and then Alex said, yes, I still want to meet with you. And so we sat down, and he explained me his vision, and also the honor that he wanted to give the original monster movie, which I also grew up loving. And then I realized the chance that I was given, and there was no way that I would say no. And I feel very happy that I did say yes in the end. Yeah.
Wow, we're happy that you said yes too, because you are really, really scary, and you recreated, you know, the definition of the mummy in our head. So Tom, I heard that, you know, when Alex came over to talk to you about, you know, asking you to play the role of Nick, you saw a photo of Sophia, and you knew this was the film.
Yeah, actually, when there wasn't even a character named Nick at that point.
That's
I
right.
think. It wasn't even Nick. It was really he. You know, Alex and I have known each other for many, many years. We worked together on Mission Impossible 3, and just to see his development and what he does, I have great respect for him. And he sent me a photo, and it was a photo of Sofia Boutella with the art made up as her as the mummy. And I also grew up loving these films, and I remember I was actually making Reacher at the time in New Orleans, and I just kind of stopped and I looked at it. I was like, wow, okay, this is really special and something very, very different. And just hearing his inspiration and his design for the film and talk about it, I thought this is a movie that is going to be a really special film and something that is very different, that is going to be big entertainment for an audience, which is, you know, first and foremost for me, I want to entertain an audience, and it also allows for the kind of character stories that I think are, you know, very character driven, but with a very large landscape. So you have Sophia, who is incredibly dynamic. You know, I just went, this is going to be fascinating, and the real challenge also was then casting across from her, which was Annabelle, and I felt very fortunate, you know, when you have someone as powerful as Sophia, to have the balance of that power, you know, with Annabelle, because it is, you know, with these monster movies, we're creating a paradigm. There's a whole universe that is being created here. It's the dark universe. And this is definitely an origin story. It'll stand alone, but there's going to be many monster films that are coming out, and we were able to really establish what the first one is and what that paradigm is. You know, it's kind of just epic stories of, you know, light and dark and good and evil. And, you know, to have someone like Annabelle and Sophia, when you look at that, you know, you're always looking at the balance of a story, and to have, you know, Russell Crowe, who I've been a friend of mine for many, many, many years, and to have him come on and say that he wanted to be part of this also, you know, was very exciting and really a lot of fun for this kind of movie.
Right. And speaking of Annabelle's role, you know, she actually redefined the archaeologist role that I usually find. It's like smart, bookworm, and, you know, very witty. But in some sense, after I watched the movie, I felt, you know, there is a darkness in her too. Is that true, Annabelle?
First of all, I just want to say both these ladies are the nicest people, you know. Just before you answer that, Annabelle, just know, I mean, really, you know, when I'm making a film, it's, people know with me, I expect a lot of myself and people around. These movies, you know, the kind of, you know, work that they had to do. I mean, Annabelle's never done stunts before. Sophia, you know, is an amazing athlete, also an artist, but she had to be in makeup a lot, you know, for many, many hours. It takes a tremendous amount of dedication. But when you see, you're right, with these monster movies, we're playing with those tones of good and evil, and so there is that shade in all of these characters.
So Annabelle?
So continue, Annabelle. Sorry. I just wanted to say
Tom,
for you
for
personally,
stealing my
like how Alex and I felt very fortunate to be, working with you.
Right, right. So, I know Annabelle, not only playing the witty role, but, there's a lot of action in there too, And was that by peer pressure, or, you were excited to do all of the stunt yourself too?
I was very excited to do all my own stunts, and I'm an incredibly competitive person, and especially when I got a chance to do stunts with Tom, I was very adamant that I could do whatever he did, and it was just an incredible ride. I tried my hardest to keep up, and
You did
I
great.
hope that I did.
You did better than keep up. It was impressive. When you look at Zero G, that whole sequence, it's a sequence that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and, she had to do it with me. And it wouldn't have worked if it wasn't her there with me doing it. So I was really impressed.
Yeah, and I think when you work with people at the level of Tom and his wonderful team, you feel very safe in that environment, and you feel very confident going into that environment, and where else to...
But still, it was very dangerous. Even though you felt confident, just know it was a stunt. It was very dangerous.
It was
Annabelle.
safer because I was there to hold his hand.
I would say it's safe. It's easy. You can do this.
They did underwater.
Don't
they
worry.
did
It'll
plane.
be
I think it was the
fine,
other way
Annabelle.
around.
It's gonna be fine.
That's okay, Tom. I'm here for you. That was
It's
basically
gonna be
what
fine.
happened.
Don't worry. It's safe. Of course
You
it's
see,
safe.
he's so
It's an airplane.
persuasive,
Just a parabola.
I think, Tom, you have this, personality to persuade people to jump into action with you, right? I mean, I heard that on the set of Zero Gravity, it took 64 takes, 2 days to film that. And, there was a footnote, vomiting everywhere. Is that true?
There is something incredible about Tom in that he can convince you to do anything. You can arrive thinking, I'm going to stand my ground, I'm going to keep myself safe today. And then when he arrives and he looks at you and he goes, hey, so I have this idea. We're going to do a Zero-G stunt. And you go, oh, great, sure, whatever you want, Tom. It's this wonderful thing that happens around Tom, and then it bleeds through, the crew and the studio, our director, our other actors. It's an infectiousness, it's a passion, it's a wonderful thing to behold, and it really elevates the movie and your experience working on a film. So thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Annabelle. And we made it through, and you did
A compliment.
well. And there was people off camera getting sick. Fortunately, we did not.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yes,
really?
as we were doing
even,
it.
Even Annabelle, you, because, I know you said you are competitive.
I beg your pardon.
Okay. Did you like, walk away and hid in a corner?
No, it was more ego. I was very adamant that I wasn't going to be sick in front of Tom on our last day, and that wasn't how I was going to bow out of our film. So I think that drove me to get through it in an elegant way.
And she did.
Thank you.
But
Wow.
there were others that were not able to, sustain themselves.
Yes, we were doing the
retain
sequence.
their breakfast.
Yes, that we were doing the sequence, and as we were doing it behind camera, we had crew with sick bags, and they were gently
Or not so
offloading.
gently.
Not so
occasionally.
gently.
So did the crew include the director?
Well, listen, the director's job is to appropriately monitor the situation from the ground, where you can objectively determine whether the take is working or not.
It's really where you understand your worth as an actor, where the producers and the director are on the ground, and then they send you up into the unknown.
No, I have a pre-existing condition called being a wimp, so I couldn't do it. But it was great. No, actually, they would go up and they would do this, for 2 hours, and they'd come back and we'd look at the footage and we'd say this is working really
It
well.
was important for you to have an exterior viewpoint.
That's exactly. I had to maintain my directorial
Yeah.
objectivity.
Yeah, objectivity. That's it.
right,
Exactly.
So Alex, because Tom just said that, he always wanted to do the Zero Gravity, even before this film. So, was he the one that persuaded you to put this particular stunt in there?
So we were talking about the sequence and plane crash, and I said, all right, so here's how we're going to do. We're going to build this rotisserie set, which is this rotating set, and it revolves around. It allows us to get a crane in. We'll do all these things. And he goes, yeah, that's great, Alex. That's really great. But we're going to do it for real. And I said, what? And he said, no, we're going to do it for real. And he told us about the vomit comment. And it's a great example of one of the things I love most about working with Tom. Tom is constantly looking for a way to entertain an audience in a way that they've never seen before. And that means doing the stunts practically. And as the director, you get to inherit the benefit of that, because as opposed to relying on a lot of CGI where, look, you guys are smart. You'd look at that CGI and you'd know something was not quite right about it. It just wouldn't entirely feel real. And to have actors who are dedicated to making it so believable, it makes your job easier. But the whole idea was to make it an experience that you'd never seen. And given how many movies Tom has made, to be able to constantly on every film say, what can I deliver this time that people haven't seen, is pretty amazing.
You know, it takes a lot of, physical energy, watching Tom's film. He's been running and running and running and jumping and everywhere, and always thinking about these, very, very extreme stunts to be performed, So what is your next stunts that you have in mind?
Well, I'm in the middle of literally shooting Mission Impossible right now, so I'm doing them. You'll see them next summer.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty extreme. These I've been thinking about it for about 10 years, and I've been preparing pretty intensely for about almost 2 years now.
Wow, so you do a lot of preparation to, prep yourself physically and mentally.
No, everything. I mean, when you look at this movie, from top to bottom, the kind of action that we have in the film, I prepare all the time, and I'm always pushing myself. Not only, I like to learn something new every day. I'm a type of person, I'm always studying something. I'm always looking for different ways how to entertain an audience. And also, when I make a film like this, I work with these guys to educate them on what to do and how to do these things and how I do it, so that I try to educate them in a way that they go off and they'll be safe, because I'm very, I spend a lot of time with my crew working on safety and doing things and practicing it, and so that I make it as safe as possible. Unfortunately, the zero-G was something you can't really practice. We just had to do it, and Annabelle had to trust me that we were going to be okay, because there's, you're doing this parabola and you're in zero-G, and then there's a point where we're coming out of it, the aircraft's coming out of it, and there's a lot of force on the body at that point.
Right.
And it was important that we start at all we knew is we were going to start at one point in the aircraft and go to the other point. I've got to get a parachute on her before that. And you'd hear the guys, they do a countdown, 5, 4, 3, and I remember one time you got hooked.
I got hooked.
Oh, wow.
I got hooked on one of the bars in my
the
backpack.
parachute
And in 3 seconds, it was gonna choke me, because when gravity returns, it arrives in such a force. And I looked at Tom and I was like, Tom, I'm stuck.
And you
he's
just
like,
hear 3, 2.
And then you hear, Tom, classic. Don't worry, Annabelle, I got you.
Wow.
And I was like,
So he's a
Such a
hero.
classic moment.
He is a hero in the film and outside the
yes,
film.
unfortunately for Tom.
All the time.
I think for Tom it's quite stressful, because when he's around and anything happens, you expect him to come.
We were shooting
Really?
a scene where the mummy's coffin is being raised, and Annabelle, the floor was covered with these very tricky shale rocks, very, very slippery.
Very dangerous
And Annabelle
day.
walked off and she sprained her ankle, and I kid you not, within 3 seconds he came. I don't think he was even on set. He came out of nowhere.
He's like,
Scooped her up in his arms and
I got you,
ran her
Annabelle.
off to the medic. It was incredible.
Wow. He is our hero, for real. I'm going to try to fall off the stage, in some second, and see if you can flip over and hold me, okay? All right, and with Sophia, your physical performance was so beautiful, so gracefully done, especially when you're in chains. It's amazing the energy that you send out, the emotion, and also the physical poses that you had. That's a form of dance that you're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely body awareness, and it is physical, definitely. It's funny, the first time Alex showed me the position that he wanted to have done in Prodigium, it came from an S&M photo.
Oh,
and I thought,
wow.
But it was a beautiful photo where the woman was chained, and I thought, that's weird. But then if you think about it, we needed to find, because the mummy is she's a pharaoh princess. She's about to become pharaoh. She carries herself like a queen. And we needed to find a position that was utterly submissive for her, that you would have never seen her in. And that was humiliating for her. But then it served me so well. I mean, it was a hard position to hold because it was the center of gravity did not exist. So I was leaning forward, and I had to, all my muscles were firing. I had to ask people to help me get in chain a few times, but it helped me, I suppose, because I'm having mercury being pumped in my veins, and my temperature was being dropped. So I used all of that. But yeah, it was definitely physical.
Sophia had the hardest days, and you're a trooper because she would be in there from 2 a.m. I'd walk in at 5, like, oh, I'm so tired. And then I'd see her across the makeup chair, and I'd be very, very quiet from that point on. But she worked incredibly hard, and she's an amazing presence.
Thanks, Annabelle.
Yeah,
but you know,
awesome.
there was no other way to do that. I mean, at first, it is long hours spent in a makeup chair, but then I needed to feel that way. I needed, like, how I saw how people looked at me was really interesting. It gave me that sort of power. And then it's interesting, people wouldn't recognize me if I came on set without my makeup. Like, it's me, because I looked so different. But it was needed, yeah.
If I were you, I wouldn't even take off the makeup because you have to re-put it on again, right?
Well, I went home a few times with it on just to minimize the time and have like a shower. It would still stay. I had to de-rig in a bath every night. I know it sounds glamorous, but...
No. When we see the mummy, you know, you are scared, but you look beautiful.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you
I
so
felt
much.
that there is
I would never
Princess
choose
Paula
Jenny.
there. You know, I love it.
You know, it's important with these, when we talk about really redefining what a monster film is, because, you know, when these movies came out, they had horror, and I think horror is a different thing now, and we're now saying, kind of redefining, saying this is a monster film. And when you look at, you know, the things that Alex and I would speak of in terms of what the monsters are, how we feel for them, how we, you know, to be able to be terrified by these monsters, but intrigued by them and drawn to them, seduced by them, and, you know, then, and feeling the push-pull of this, of the triangle of, you know, who, you know, where's our affinity as an audience, where's that going to lie? It was really, just from our, you know, storyteller's point of view, was really important for us as we're going through it. And that's also why the casting, you recognize how sexy, how powerful Ahmed is, but very dangerous. And, you know, and having that balance, you know, also with Annabelle and that kind of very different relationship. And it's, you know, even the Nick character that we eventually came up with, because really when I got on board, there wasn't a script, and we, you know, Alex and I, there were ideas and concepts that we were playing with and evaluating what should the design of the film be. And if you look at it, we're really playing in, you know, definitely new but also classic tones of production design, the lighting, even the composition. You know, he's paying homage to the originals. And also, you know, Nick Morton is a character who is a bit of a scoundrel. He's someone who really, through his journey, becomes a better human being. And I don't want to give away the ending. I know you all saw it, but he becomes a better person having, you know, what happens to him. And I think that's also a fun thing that we're playing with. And I think that's what this dark universe invites. A very unique, but very, you know, big commercial experience for an audience.
Right, like you mentioned, Nick, this character, you know, it's so different from the hero, you know, character that we usually see, that Tom saves the world, you know, he's always like being the hero and always the positive side. But we see thriller, action, and also humor in this character. Did you put the humor inside? Because I felt somehow I see the Tom Cruise humor inside.
Well, I mean, it's character humor. What I'm looking at is, you know, certain humor that will play in different kinds of movies. I like a lot of different kinds of films, and I really enjoy drama and character humor. You know, if you look at my back when I started, and whether it's even Risky Business, Rain Man, you know, Jerry Maguire, a lot of the films, and then, you know, Night and Day, or even extreme just comedy with Tropic Thunder with Les Grossman, or even in my drama, my dramas, I'm looking for points of comedy, you know, even Edge of Tomorrow, you know, you look at, there's a lot of character comedy in there. So it's not, it really is what, it's the character and what the story invites. It's what the structure of that tone invites. And it's always something that, as filmmakers, we're exploring, the drama and also, where you let the audience breathe a bit, and you get into, it's very human. And I like having things where, we're laughing at ourselves with these characters. So I think I just enjoy that as much as I enjoy drama.
I think that's the reason Alex, chosen you to be Nick. You put life into this character that maybe when you started the movie, you didn't know what kind of personality you should carry. But, Tom gave life to it. But, with the prodigium that you were saying, I think this is a very important setting. So can Alex tell us a little bit more about it? What do you want to create from the prodigium? What do you want people to see from the prodigium?
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost, we felt very strongly that we wanted to deliver a satisfying mummy movie. So if you go to the movie, it's going to be its own self-sustained story, but obviously we are building Dark Universe. And I can really only evaluate the way I wanted to see this done as the way I would want to see it as an audience. And I tend not to like it when lots of characters are thrown at me and lots of information before I've had time to really fall in love with the characters themselves. And so we knew Prodigium was something we talked about quite a bit in the development of the story, but we knew that Prodigium was going to be a big part of the story, and that we loved the idea that one of the things that makes this movie original and unique is that the mummy exists in a larger world of gods and monsters, and that Nick, who's really us in the experience of the movie, has his eyes open to the reality that monsters exist all around us and in fact have for a very long time. And in thinking about it and thinking about who could be the best voice for our introduction into that world, we came to the idea that Dr. Jekyll actually had a very organic reason to be in the story, because he is a man who, like Nick, is struggling between the two sides of himself. He's both good and evil. He's trying to decide which side he wants to live in. And he, in a way, becomes a real mirror to Tom's character. And that gave us, as storytellers, a very organic reason to put him in the story, as opposed to slamming two monsters together and hoping, that it would work. And Dark Universe is built on the idea that, these movies that we fell in love with as kids, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mummy, all of these great films that really define the golden age of cinema, and that I, as a child, fell in love with, that we can bring this to a modern audience in a modern setting and retain the spirit of those things that we loved so much, but make it very fresh and very different. And yeah, having Tom in a, look, I'm a lifelong Tom Cruise fan. I grew up on Tom's movies, and it's just the truth.
I think everyone here is too.
Yeah, I have a feeling you probably would all agree with me. And I loved him in Rain Man, and I loved him in Jerry Maguire, and I loved him in all of these films. And one of the things, even you look at a movie like Collateral, where he's really playing a bad guy who's so likable, and I think it is one of the among the many gifts that Tom has. He brings a movie star quality that allows you to fall in love with very unlikable characters. And the truth is, he reflects some part of all of us in a way. And that's the joy of it. And so getting to put Tom in this movie where you're dealing in shades of gray. Not, look, I'm a fan of all the superhero movies that are out right now, but I can't tell you honestly that I connect to them as a person, because I'm not a superhero. But I can connect to Tom, and I can connect to his experience. And so he gets to be us in some ways. And hopefully that's part of what makes this feel fresh and different.
Wow, but just 2 days ago, the Dark Universe, this project is announced, and everyone excited. I love monster movies. I grew up with monster movies. I was 5 years old, holding a cross, watching Dracula.
Exactly.
This is me. So, when I heard about this news, I was like, really, really excited.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask, Alex, who is your favorite monster?
The Mummy?
The Mummy?
Yes.
Is it because Sophia's playing it?
I loved The Mummy growing up as a kid, and I remember watching Boris Karloff come to life for the first time and being terrified by how slowly he moved and the beauty of the makeup and the character, and how those actors who were the movie stars of their time utterly embodied the characters that they played and brought us into that reality and brought us into the romance and the texture and all the things that Tom was referring to. I think that if you look at, I could go on and on about each monster movie because I love them all so much. But I
We
think
spent a
that
lot of time talking about
a
them.
lot of time. You have a couple
Analyzing
hours.
the shots, looking at the lighting.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And you'll see some of that reflected. I mean, if you look at the original Karloff movie and the shots of his eyes and the way he would hypnotize, I just stole those shots and gave them to Sophia, you know? And, you know, there's a dagger prominently involved in the Karloff movie that plays a significant part. So this is really our way of saying we love these monster movies and we want to give them respect, pay homage to them, and bring something different to the table.
So, Annabelle, who's your favorite monster?
Well, I'd have to say the Mummy right now. But I'm the same, you know, I grew up watching monster movies and cartoons, and it's something that's so entrenched in my cinematic experience, and these are stories that are carried from generation to generation, and to be a part of
Yeah.
the reimagining of a dark universe of that world is just incredible, because it's really part of who I am today, you know, and they inspired such a conflict within myself. You know, I remember watching Frankenstein and feeling so much heart and empathy, but then fear and confusion about what I was supposed to feel in that moment. And I think when that you allow an audience to feel that way, it really adds to their cinematic experience. And so I just think that all of them really, I just love the how it plays on your moral compass.
They each have their own personality, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you can fall in love with these monsters. So, Tom, your answer is not the Mummy, right? It's the Mummy.
You know what, I like so many of them. You know, I don't have a particular favorite. What was fun about this was taking it and really imbuing what I wanted to see as an audience member. When you talk about creating something that, you know, has adventure, it also has the drama and the scares, and also the humor, you know, and I do like taking something that is dramatic and playing with the structure and getting to the point where we're getting really good character laughs, you know. I know when I'm watching a film and I'm invested in it, and I'm just so enjoying the nuances of character, and I think that's, you know, very proud of what we accomplished with this film, and, you know, what Alex did a great job directing it, and these ladies, it was a pleasure. And Russell Crowe, you know, we had a blast. So that fight sequence with Russell Crowe and we had a really good time doing that. All of a sudden we were like little kids tossing each other around.
I heard you guys really fought.
Yeah, we went for it. We really went for it. It was like, you have to do it. And it was a lot of fun.
He was badly bruised. How about you?
I don't know if he was badly bruised. You know, I mean, when you're doing stuff like that, you get a little bruised when you're doing stuff. It wasn't too bad, though.
Wow, but, you know, sure, you know, the chemistry was, like, great. But with, you know, Sophia, like you said, you know, when you heard the Mummy, you were scared, right?
Yeah.
So I assume that you didn't really, you know, enjoy watching any of the monster when you were growing up?
No, I did. I swear, I grew up watching them. I know I feel like a broken record saying that all the time, and everybody's saying it. My parents love movies, and they made me watch really obscure sort of films that I when I was a kid, I did not want to watch because I just wanted to watch cartoon. But it gave me such a movie culture. And these were the first monster movies ever made. I think the first Frankenstein was in 1918.
Hunchback of Notre Dame was the first movie Universal ever made.
What's the date?
Yeah, The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It was it, but because I thought, wasn't it like a silent one with Frankenstein?
Say it again?
A silent one, completely. It's a
The
silent
silent
film.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Silent movie.
Yes, the first was silent. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember seeing that and being, like, people used to be terrified by these films back then, and now bringing it back here now, it's just amazing. And Alex's vision and his dedication towards the material and toward the story of these films and their history and bringing them back now, I think is phenomenal. And like he was saying also, that you can relate to a character like Nick, which is so beautifully done, and then you can also relate to all these monsters, even though they're monsters, they have, and I think that's beautiful, and you can see it back then, and you can see it now even in The Mummy, that you can, even though you disagree with the way she goes about what she does, but you can understand why
Right.
she's doing what she does.
You know what? You know, when I was growing up, I loved Count Dracula. But you know, when I saw your mummy, the first ever female mummy, you know, in the beginning, she looked scary. You know, I was a little bit terrified, but I fell in love with her character.
Yeah.
Thank
You know
you.
why? I felt the pain inside you, why you got so angry. You know, it's something that, you know, you felt kind of sorry for her, and you wanted to hold her hand.
But that's what's so beautiful, being on set with Tom and Alex and finding all these colors that will not victimize the character, that will not make her weak. She's still strong, but still, there's a very fine line. You can fall very easily in some sort of either cliche or thing that has been done before, and I could have not done it without them. Honestly, it was we all worked and came up with that end result. I'm so proud of it.
Right. And, you know, Alex, I think, you know, you are very, very lucky to be able to work with the best actor and actresses and team behind the scene.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
working with them, how does
It's
it
only his
feel?
second film he's directed, so and this was a very tough one from top to bottom. So did a great job.
Thank you, Tom.
You
Really
did.
impressive.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
A lot of pressure.
Right. So, Alex, tell us, you know, it's a lot of pressure, I know. You're working with the best, okay? Like you said, you grew up watching Tom Cruise's film, right? So, you know, you must have felt that, you know, you got to do the right thing.
Yes.
We
So,
worked together. We were working, so he knows how I work. I mean, we had so much fun on Mission.
Yeah.
And the thing is that a lot of people feel that there's a script and then you go shoot the script. I mean, that would be a great world. But really, you know, in making a movie, you know, the things we talk about is you're chasing tone and you're thinking what you want the film to be, and then you cast it, and you have to write to the performers, meaning, you know, you really look at what their talent is and try to write to their greatest strengths and things that are the most entertaining that you find in them, and really celebrate their talent. And I think Alex does that beautifully, and you also have to be willing in making a film to see and admit when things are not quite working the way, you know, and really seize the moments and find the things that are working and keep strengthening that. And sometimes it takes a lot of courage, particularly on a very big movie where things are, you know, moving very fast. And it was something that he and I, you know, we speak of every day. We're just constantly watching that. You did an incredible job with that kind of pressure.
Thank you, Tom.
know, really
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you. Well, I think, first of all, yes. It's very humbling to be given the opportunity to make a movie of this scale with people like Tom and Annabelle and Sophia and Russell and Jake, and you know, it's all you dream of as a kid. If you fall in love with film, you know, you just want to make movies, and you want to make movies that reach a global audience, that entertain everybody, that make my son's generation feel what I felt when I went to the movies. And Tom's right. I think that a movie for us is sort of like a living organism. You're constantly trying to raise it. You're constantly trying to figure out how to get the best from it and how to make it the most entertaining. And, you know, a filmmaker I admire very much once gave me the advice that you have to be so prepared that you're willing to throw it all away in the moment for something better. And that really is true. I think you have to be open to the miracles that show themselves every day, the surprises, the spontaneity, the things you don't expect. And that's the fun of the experience. You know, is there pressure? Yeah, of course there's pressure. And there's nothing like directing a movie of this size with Tom to define your relationship to pressure very quickly. But I think in some ways you have to tune it out. You can't think about it. It's so overwhelming in a way that you just have to say, all right, I remember what it was like to be that kid in that movie theater. That's what I'm trying to make people feel.
Yeah,
How do I
that's
get back to that?
When we were working, anytime, I mean, I have a thing that I really feel is true, and I tell people when I'm working, I say, pressure is a privilege. Anytime we're going, it's like, pressure's a privilege. Here we go. Let's have some fun with this, man, you know?
pressure will push
Pressure
you to the
is a
extreme.
privilege, you know?
Yeah, that's
And actually,
a good word.
what I think part of what he's saying is that there's a certain thing that emerges in that situation that you would not otherwise be thinking of if you had all the time in the world. It forces your brain to go to an extreme that you might not otherwise come to. And it's a really interesting thing to experience that, because creatively, it opens doors that you may not have known were there.
Right, and it opened a door of the dark universe. So, you know, I guess a lot of people here are really excited, like, how come she gets to ask all the questions? Hey, okay, I'm going to open up now for people to ask questions, but, you know, we have translation, simultaneous translation headset here, just in case our cast and director needs it. And, of course, any question? Wow, good students, raising hands, okay. And please introduce yourself first.
Ask everyone but Tom first. And we know you love to do all the stunts by yourself. So could you share about how about the camel spider things and the rat things?
Oh, the rat scenes.
Yes.
And the
rat
spiders.
Yes. For real?
No, those spiders weren't actually, and the rats were not. Those things we just acted. We had to act with nothing. But I did joke with the studio. I said, "Look, I'm not doing it unless we get 10,000 spiders on the set." I did. I kept it up for a while, didn't I?
It's true, he did.
They
And they were
literally,
like,
I made them do research.
you don't
and they were trying to hit
understand.
the
When
studio.
Tom says that, everyone goes, okay, we got to figure out how we're going to get 10,000 spiders here at the world.
You were
I was
really?
like, no, really, I'm not doing it unless I have 10,000 spiders. And then it was, they turned to animal things. It's like, will the spiders come? The temperature? How long do they live?
They're all
How do
gonna
we
die
feed
in
them? They're all going to
transit.
die in 24 hours.
You know, you
So I
are
was like,
so
okay.
adventurous. You know, you're willing to be filming with so many spiders crawling all over you.
I was teasing them.
And for others, what's the best parts and the worst parts to work with Tom Cruise?
The best and the worst.
Yeah, Sophia?
Sophia.
The best and the worst. Wow.
Yes.
I don't know, but
Or do you want
the worst part about working with Tom Cruise is when it's over. Because you don't want it to be over. You want it to never stop. The best part is to be with him every day on set. I fell at school with him, you know, and I'm still very young to this profession, and I'm learning so much, and I felt like a student. He was always here to answer all my questions, and they were relentless. And he taught me a lot about everything. The first time I was on set with him, he was figuring out the frame, and I was just staring at him, like, what is it? And watching the way he works and how he communicates with people and how he collectively comes up with something that completely makes sense. But he was telling them, no, guys, this is a comedic frame, and what we're trying to do. I was like, what is a comedic frame? And I realized how much I did not know, which made me utterly quiet, not because I felt shy, but because I felt like a sponge absorbing every single thing that was being said. And it took me a while before I started asking questions. He encouraged me. He said, whatever you need, ask me. And then every time I had a moment, I did so. Thanks, Tom.
It's my pleasure.
Wow.
Really
How about
lovely.
Annabelle?
There is only good. He's Tom Cruise. I mean,
Are you
there's
pinching
really
her in the
nothing-
bottom? No?
I mean, he's just incredible, really. You know, you go to work every day and you learn and you are inspired. And, you know, he taught me that kindness and hard work, you know, really gives you the career that you can be proud of. I think he inspired all our crew every day. You know, there's really nothing but benefits from you know, an environment in which Tom is in. And I think you'll all leave here today and you'll learn something that he inspired you to, you know, tell your friends. So really, it was just wonderful all around, and I feel very privileged.
Oh. Okay, any other question here? Can we pass? Oh,
Hi,
okay.
I'm Daniel from Vogue Taiwan.
How are you?
Hi.
Hi, Daniel.
I have
Hi,
a
Daniel.
question for all of you. Since Tom mentioned the pressure makes you better, and I wonder what makes you feel stressful the most when filming this movie.
Dealing
What
with
made you
me.
feel stressed the
Stressful,
most?
yeah.
Stressful.
So there's a lot of pressure.
I have to
Physical or
say,
mental?
anytime, you know, the things that I feel, I always feel tremendous. I put a lot of pressure on myself when I'm making a film because I'm thinking of the audience. And I always say, look, I only get one chance to make the movie. That's it. That's it. And so I really come very prepared. And you're constantly, you know, you're shooting the film, and it's an interesting thing when you're making a movie. You're in the movie, and then you have to be able to take a step back and picture the movie, you know, when you're doing it, and constantly challenging ourselves. And I like a challenge, and I want, and I'm very open with everyone. You know, I invite cooperation and collaboration with everyone because I work with people that I respect, and I want everyone to take ownership of their positions on set and of the whole movie. You know, sometimes people go, "Oh my gosh, your movie," and I'm like, "No, no, no, please, don't think that. This is our movie." And I don't, to any person on the crew, you know, to the guy who is catering for us, because I'm like, this is your movie also, and you're here taking care of our crew, and you're part of our crew. So I really invite and expect that kind of responsibility. And I think the most stress that I have on The Mummy, it's when I'm doing stunts with the other actors. Because I feel responsible for them.
For their safety. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel responsible for their safety, and even in, you know, when we were doing 0G and stuff, I stayed very relaxed, but it's also my attention is, you know, really even more heightened than usual. I mean, I did stunts with both Sophia and Annabelle. We haven't talked, you know, I mean, what I do with Sophia also is very technical, and you know, they're really powerful scenes, but I'm very specific with them, and I spend a lot of time working with them and making sure that they're really prepared for their safety.
Every day that I did stunt with...
Pardon me?
Like parents taking care of children.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. I do. I feel that way. And also I feel a great responsibility, you know, working with Alex. He's my friend. It's his second film. I mean, I don't know, I've produced 30 movies. I've made, you know, and he's made a lot of films and produced a lot of movies. But I do feel that kind of pressure, my responsibility with everyone, to be there, to be prepared, to be available to help anyone, you know, in any capacity. I mean, look, when I started in movies, I remember doing taps, and I didn't know whether I was ever going to be able to make a film again. It's something that I've wanted to do since I was a little kid. And I went to every single department, and I never went to film school, but I had the opportunity on that film to study every single department of filmmaking. And for years afterwards, every film that I made, I went and I studied directors, but every aspect of film. From, you know, at that point I was working with a great cinematographer, Owen Roisman, on taps, and you know, I knew who he was because of the films that I'd seen, and so I've been you know, the beneficiary of being able to work with some extraordinarily talented people whose names, you know, people wouldn't necessarily know, but so I've had that, and I do study film in every single department. I work on that, and I just want to be there to help them in any capacity that I can, to make the best possible film for an audience that we can.
You're so diligent, you know. This is why you're so successful, you know, every role you played, because you did so much homework, you know, and, you know.
His attention to details is phenomenal, and a lot of the time you can work with, and then if you can think that it's not important, and it's super important, and I've been, like, it's such a privilege to work with him because his dedication is special.
Right.
Yeah.
So I understand that, you know, because of, you know, the way Tom is, I'm sure, you know, just filming with him, you feel very calm and, you know, safe, because he's always there for you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
I wanted them to feel relaxed.
During our warrior work, what we had to do in the Crusaders Chamber, first of all, he did all his stunt before me in the course of 3 days. And I always heard, like all of you guessed, that he does his own stunts. But seeing him doing them and how accurate he is, how specific he is to minimize, you know, what it costs to your body, to minimize the risk of anything that could happen, was impressive. I had to tell him every evening how impressed I was. And that didn't, I mean, it was good because I got an example, and I got to observe, and then I had mine in the course of 2 days after him, and he was, even when he wasn't in the shot, he was always with me. He checked how I was tied, he checked the screw, he checked the wire, he went to make sure the pillar was padded, and in the middle of all that, he was just giving me tips. At the end of the movie, he would come, he would be the first one there, and asking, "Are you okay?" And he would just stare at me in my eyes, and I could see, like, it didn't matter that I said I was okay. He needed to see that I was actually okay.
True.
You know, and it's true. Like, you feel safe around him. And there's nothing that he wouldn't do. That's why you make people want to do anything you go for. Like, if you say yes, it must be right. It must be okay.
That's
Thank
why he is the chosen one. Right?
He is. He is. He's
It's
my
a privilege to
chosen,
work
yes.
with him, you know? Wow, you guys are so lucky. So, you know, we have one more lucky question. Okay, here. Why don't we give an Asia media a friend? Okay, here. Can we have microphone here? No. He didn't take the microphone. Over there. Okay.
Hello, I'm MJ Marfori from the Philippines. Tom, you promised Taiwan that you'd be back and you're back. When will you be back in the Philippines? Is there any chance? The fans are watching right now.
When will I be back? You know, I don't know, but I will come back. I will go to the Philippines. I'd like to do
Nice.
that. I will go to the Philippines. I don't have an exact date when I could go back, but I promise you I will go to the Philippines.
Is there any way that maybe Dark Universe would be set in Southeast Asia? Since, you know, it's all over.
It's funny you say
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. There'll be this universe is going to shoot all over the world. Definitely in Southeast Asia, without question. All through, you know, in different places in Asia. It is a global series that they're creating, and these are going to be big, adventurous films. Thank you.
Okay, and welcome, Philippines. Okay. Well,
Thank
you
you.
know, due to
Love
our
Philippines.
time restraint, are we allowed one more?
One more.
Tom, you make the call. Okay. Why don't we pick one?
Of course.
Okay,
No,
you
no.
pick.
We'll do
Annabelle
two more.
pick.
We'll do two more.
There's a woman there with her mic. There you go.
Over here. Okay.
Sorry.
Picking.
Sorry, I
Yes,
just took
she
over.
made the pick.
Hello, welcome to Taiwan. I'm
Thank
LB
you.
from TVBS. I have a question about Tom. We saw thousands of spiders and rats and also the horrible zombie run behind you. Which one is the most terrifying to you?
For me?
Yes, spider,
I'm not
rat,
scared of,
or
I'm not scared
the
of any
mummy.
zombie. I'm not scared of any zombie.
He's not scared of anything.
Spiders, rats.
there's not a lot that scares Tom Cruise. I don't know if you've noticed that.
It was
no.
me.
He's
Yeah.
looking.
Annabelle.
Trying to keep up.
He's looking for thrills. Okay, one last one here. Okay.
Hello.
Wow.
Wow.
It could be someone that you personally know, or it could be an historical figure.
Oh
If
my
you had the ability to
goodness.
resurrect.
What a big question. Who do you want to bring alive if you had the power?
Frida Kahlo.
Who?
I'd like her to come back.
Ooh.
Who again?
Frida Kahlo.
Why?
Frida
Frida
Kahlo.
Kahlo.
Frida Kahlo.
Artist.
I had a great. Yeah, I love her very much.
Okay. While we
I-
skip to Annabelle.
I would bring back Nelson Mandela in his youth, a speaker of equality and freedom. I think that's a wonderful person to
Thank
bring
you.
back.
Mandela. Yes. Tom.
Read that, Tom.
I don't know. Do I only have one? I mean, I think I would have to go
Two,
through.
Mr.
How
Tom
about
Cruise.
He said you could have two.
Da Vinci?
Ooh.
Smart.
Have some conversations with him about some of those things he was.
Oh, he could paint
drawing,
you.
yeah.
Wow.
He could paint you.
He could paint you.
How about Mozart? Beethoven also.
Yes.
Hieronymus Bosch.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
Charlie
a lot of people.
Chaplin.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I think a lot of them. It'd be
Fred Astaire.
interesting conversations. Fred Astaire.
Okay, you just opened
My
up an
dog
unstoppable topic. Okay,
Yes, I
there's
know.
so many of them.
What's that? What's that? Yeah.
Okay,
So
all
about
right.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah. You know, today will be the premiere tonight, and they will be showing up at Miramar today. But you know, due to the time restraint, we'd like to thank everyone for being
Yes,
here.
thank you very much for
You had a
being
good
here
time?
today. Thank
Why
you
don't
so
we have a
much.
big round
Thank
of
you.
applause?
Thank you.
Alex.
Thank you all for being here.
Annabelle, Tom, and Sophia. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.谢谢大家，谢谢。
Mhm.